How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to the Enclave. So we are moving on today with Module 7, Malfunctions and Maintenance, which also happens to be the final section of our self-loading rifle or carbine. It's a little bit sad because I'm not sure when I'm going to get to do the next set of books, but I mean it's going to take a few weeks for these to all upload, so maybe we're lucky and there's just a seamless transition through all the books. I've got them all, it's just that I'm not too sure if we're going to go through them in time. But anyway, so starting off we have malfunctions. So the first malfunction is a misfire. So a misfire, you pull the trigger, the pin strikes the primer, either the primer doesn't ignite or the primer ignites but it doesn't ignite the powder, or there is no powder. All of these situations can lead to a misfire. In that situation, the firearm would not cycle. You would then perform the immediate action drill, which here would be as simple as click. That's it, done. Rack and assess. Get that round out of there, chamber the next round, and continue on your way. You can actually do it without even losing anything but your gun hand on the grip. You can maintain shoulder and everything. So yeah, that is the misfire. Hangfire. As I've said multiple times before, with modern ammunition, a hangfire is extremely unlikely. I've only ever seen one, and it was with an old rifle with old ammunition. So that, what will happen is you will have, in essence, a pop, but no bang. So the primer would go off, but the powder itself would have a fairly perceivable delay in ignition. Yeah, so anywhere up to about 5 seconds. Like I say, the odds of you coming across any of those issues are slim to none, especially in modern firearms with modern ammunition. Next up we have the squib load. So the squib load is a round that develops less than nominal pressure. So this can come from underloading, loading with the wrong powder, all sorts of things. Basically what will happen is the pin will strike the primer will explode, the powder will ignite and build up pressure, but it will build up less than normal pressure, which will then drive the bullet up into the barrel but not have enough force to continue past the lands and grooves on the rifling to actually push its way out of the barrel. Corrective action for that is you take your cleaning rod once you have removed all other live ammunition from the firearm, i.e. clearing the chamber and the magazine. You then take the cleaning rod down the barrel and a couple of love taps will get it out. If it doesn't, you're then going to want to take that to a gunsmith to safely remove the bullet from your barrel without causing damage to your firearm. But yeah, that is pretty much that for the malfunctions. Pretty quick and simple. So yeah, I've also already explained the drill, the malfunction drill, which is on the next page. Yeah, so if you feel like feeding is a problem, you can tap and then cycle the charge handle. But mostly your magazine's either going to be seated for the first round and then it's going to be seated, or that's going to happen on your first round and your magazine's probably going to fall out or something when you try and fire. But anyways, so yeah, that is the immediate action drill, basically rack and assess. Moving on to maintenance of the firearm. So we start off with when to clean the firearm. This will absolutely be in your test and it is very important to know. First off, when it has been used. So when you've spent the day at the range, you've put a couple dozen rounds through your firearm, it is a good idea to clean it. There is also another reason to do that I didn't even think about until it was mentioned to me by one of my instructors. Was, let's say you go to the range on Saturday and on Sunday the police rock up at your house and accuse you of a murder with said firearm. If you came home and cleaned said firearm after your shooting on Saturday, they would have a much harder time lifting false evidence like, yes, the firearm has been fired yesterday, or whatever the case may be. So it is always a good idea to keep your firearm unfired, if you sort of know what I mean by that. Number 2, it has been exposed to the elements, for example, rain, mud, or sweat. So this is a little bit less likely to happen with a firearm like this, unless you're out hunting or whatever and it happens to rain or it happens to get in the mud or whatever. But for normal sport shooting, your firearm shouldn't particularly be exposed to much elements other than potentially your sweat. Either case, you want to ensure that especially things like sweat are removed from your firearm. You don't want any corrosive materials like salts and things getting in contact with the metals of your firearm. Now, most firearms, I must admit, are coated very well in today's day and age, but I've seen rust on Glocks, I've seen rust on Smith & Wessons, like it happens. So, yeah. And then it has been stored for a prolonged period of time. So, after your firearm has been stored for an extended period of time, you obviously want to make sure that you perform a safety inspection on it. Once you've performed said safety inspection, you want to make sure that all the components are free of dust and any sort of like insect carcasses or anything like that. Like, I mean, hell, I'm sure all of us have found Christmas beetle bodies in the weirdest of places. You don't really want to find one of those down the barrel of your gun when you're firing live ammunition, you know. So yeah, cleaning kits. So this is something that you will be asked about. Your cleaning kit will include, and like I mentioned with the other firearms, 2 of these items will come with the firearm, the rest will not. So the 2 items that will come with the firearm are a cleaning rod, that is the rod that I mentioned you would use to get rid of a squib load, and a phosphor bronze brush, which is basically also known as a bore brush, is for scraping bits of nitro powder and things like that out of the lands and grooves of your rifling in your barrel. What isn't going to be included with your firearm, most likely, I mean, I'm not going to say it isn't 100%, because I do know some firearms come with cleaning kits, but I know a lot of firearms don't, with full cleaning kits. So you're also going to need a jag, flannel patches, nitro solvent, and gun oil. The nitro solvent and the gun oil are going to be most crucial. Like, those are absolutely the 2 most important things when it comes to actually cleaning a gun. Because obviously you need to get any residual powders and things out of your firearm. You then need to lubricate your firearm once that's done. Even with basic cleanings, you're gonna have gun oil involved at very least. Yeah, so that is pretty much that. Safety inspections. So we are going to basically show you how to perform a safety inspection. So we are going to identify a safe direction, point the firearm in a safe direction with the finger off the trigger. If you have a magazine in, remove the magazine. We're then going to pull the charging handle back, make sure that the chamber and magazine wall are clear. Some firearms, this will stay back, or it will have the ability to lock back, others not. Others only will if there is an empty magazine in it. So it's fine, it will go forward, not a problem. What you then do is you take your cleaning rod, you insert it down the barrel of the firearm until you feel like it's somewhere around your chamber. You can then pull the charging handle back to expose the chamber, and you will then see the end of your cleaning rod in your chamber. At that point, you can either clean the firearm or use the firearm or do whatever it is that you were planning on doing before you perform the safety inspection. Obviously, again, with the LM style rifles, let's just drop the magazine quickly. With the LM style rifles, you will need to switch the firearm to the fire mode before you can cycle the charge handle. So that is pretty much that. Let me just make sure that we are complete. We are. That is pretty much that. Everything else is the assessment. So, super easy lemon squeezy. We've managed to finish yet another book. And with that, we have completed all of the private owned sort of firearms competency courses. With the knowledge that you have attained through all these courses, you should absolutely be able to ace all your tests. We are going to be, like I've said before, going through the professional firearms books as well, which are the ones used for security personnel or police or military agents. So those are going to be coming up next, and then we will move on to whatever books we need to do. But yeah, as always, if you feel like I missed anything or you have anything to add, please feel free to add it in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed or learned anything, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all those fabulous things. If you've got more time, maybe check out another video here at the end. Otherwise, peace out.